Okay, so now I'm at the Bodø office. I just arrived. The time is currently 8:55. In 5 minutes we have a usability test. Okay, so this is my schedule. You see that I have 2 usability tests, and then I have this meeting which I'm not sure quite what it's supposed to be. And then we have some talks about tokens and a new component that my colleague is making, which is card. So before the usability test starts, I need to eat something, which probably has milk, but that is the only food I have at the moment. I'm going to have to make do. Okay, see ya. So we just launched an internal release of our new design system portal, and today we're running usability tests to see how it's working for our primary users, which is our company's employees. And since our team is fully remote, we're conducting these sessions virtually through Teams. Since these are internal low-pressure tests, we all have our cameras on, and everyone is welcome to jump in if we notice something that's intriguing. This is actually the 3rd round of usability testing since we started this specific project, and for these last sessions we've kept it brief. Just 15 minutes with about 10 minutes afterwards for the team to debrief. During each test we have a dedicated facilitator leading the session, while the rest of us watch and take notes in a Figma board. And also, fun fact, right there on the screen we're using a Figma template that I shared on the Figma community. So if you're looking for a note-taking board for usability testing, feel free to check it out. Since we've been gathering feedback throughout the entire process, we're feeling pretty confident in where the design stands, and this round is mostly about polishing and making sure everything meets expectations. Okay, so I've completed all my meetings before lunch, so now I have some free time to go look for a blanket because it's freezing here, and to do some work. More specifically, I'm going to finalize a loading button for our design system, and yeah, maybe I'll go do some networking. I start off my adventure by going for a snack. In the kitchen area, we have what we call a tineskap, which basically gives us super duper cheap snack options for just 5 Norwegian kroner. This time the choice fell on this weird looking smoothie. I mean, why do they have an illustration of an ant? I don't know. Anyway, here is the Bodø office's kitchen area. While I was looking for a blanket, I discovered that our company was actually hosting a small conference, and to stay true to my former networking thoughts, I had to go down and participate. I ended up spending most of my time here before lunch talking to other designers that I don't see too often, and yeah, here we were talking about radio buttons versus chips. Long story short, I hate chips, and no, I will not elaborate. As usual, when I eat from a buffet, my lunch ended up being the weirdest combination of ingredients ever. But even though it looks super weird, it ended up tasting kinda good. So yeah. Okay guys, so now I'm back after lunch. I'm officially ready to get started on the loading button. Okay. Now my developer asked me if I have some time to talk about a new component that we are releasing. It's a feedback component that we are having on our design systems portal. Oh, yeah. During our call, my developer wanted to walk through each state of the component. What happens when you click on the feedback button, what occurs if you try to submit without typing anything, and how the success message should look like. These states are usually mapped out well before development starts, but sometimes, well, things don't go exactly as planned. In this case, we found ourselves defining and adjusting each state on the spot, working out details live to find the quickest path to release. Instead of design leading development, we were making calls based on what was the easiest to implement right then and there. The upside? We get this feature out faster. But designing on the fly does come with trade-offs. We'll likely need to revisit this component later, tweaking based on what we learn works best. It's a bit of a balancing act, optimizing for speed now while keeping flexibility for iteration down the line. This is what she's created so far. As you can see, here's like a card with the title and the placeholder. And here we have what we are going to call a link card. And this is going to be, was it expandable card or something? Expand card, yeah. This is an example of a static card in an interface. A simple, effective way to group and organize information. And here is an example of a link card. It also groups and organizes information, but with an added purpose, guiding you to another page when clicked. And this is an example of an expandable card within a modal. It's simply just a card that allows you to open it for more info, much like an accordion.
One eternity later.
Hello, good morning. I just got to the office, have just checked my Slack for any messages, answered them if necessary, and now I'm in the process of checking my Figma notifications. And more specifically, I've received a Figma notification that there is a merge request that's ready for review. That is a part of our process when designing or making changes to an already published component. In this case, the component I'm talking about is a modal. We got some feedback. My colleague went ahead and did some changes to it. And now we need to just go and check that everything still works fine, and yeah. First, I start off by opening up the merge request and then navigating my way into our component building area. From here, I simply just start testing various different properties within the component to see if I find any bugs or if there is something I think should be changed. In this instance, I thought everything looked good and it worked as expected. So the only feedback I gave was that I was a bit unsure about the extra padding at the top and bottom, which we in the end ended up removing. Oh my gosh, it's only 10 and I am so hungry. So now I'm going to go on an adventure to try to see if I can find some snacks. Okay, now you're probably thinking, wait, are you guys still working on the card component? And yes, we are, and here's why. What you're seeing on the screen is what we call the simple version of a card. Now, creating this version took some time because we're still building on a relatively new design system, so not all interaction design principles are defined yet. So we're figuring things out as we go. But it's not just about making the card look good or following basic design principles. We also have to take into account all the feedback that we've received from our product teams. And let's just say their needs have been very diverse. So much so that we decided it was necessary to create not just one, but two different components that are like in the card area. So the first is this simple card, and the second is a more advanced version, one that kind of resembles more of a table or maybe a list. And while it's impossible for us to make a component that fits everyone's needs perfectly, we're trying our hardest to develop a solution that works for most of them. This way, our product teams don't end up designing 100 different interfaces for essentially the same thing. And now it's time for our bi-weekly design department meeting. Here are a few of my colleagues that's joining in from Bodø, and the rest of my colleagues across the country joins in using Teams. Anyway, this meeting is a casual one where we catch up with each other and discuss any ongoing projects, challenges, or cool ideas we've come across. And it's also a great opportunity for us to sync up on design decisions, share feedback, and get insights from different teams. After the meeting was over, I spent some time replying to messages and comments, as well as inserting the new animation my colleague made into our new loading button. I personally thought it looked super good, but just to make sure, I asked my colleagues to review it before we ship it off tomorrow. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Then I left for the day, got ready to go to the airport. Of course, remember to clean up my stuff, as you should. And yeah, I think we've come to the end of this video, which pretty much sums up 2 days in the life of a UX designer in Norway working on a design systems team. And if you have watched all the way to the end, oh my gosh, you're awesome. Please leave a comment, say hi, I want to get to know you. And yeah, I hope you have a good day, a good week, and then I'll see you guys soon.